Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Toast Time. As always, I'm here with my co-host Jackson Law and our producer Courtney. Um, so listen, there were some things going on this week, in terms of a lot of sports talk this week. But you know what? There's one thing that I was very, very happy about, which is why this is my buttery pick this week. My buttery pick is the return of Anthony Davis to the Lakers lineup. I have been waiting months and months for this. We slid from the number 1 or 2 seed all the way down to the 6 seed now, but Anthony Davis is back. And you know what? I just really want to say I hope the NBA and the Western Conference specifically had their fun because now Lakers bully ball is back. So I hope that they had their fun while LeBron and Anthony Davis were sidelined, but that's all about to change real soon because Anthony Davis is going to come back. He said he's 100% ready to go. LeBron should be returning within, I'd say about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So the Lakers look like they'll be getting back to form in just the right time, make the last little push towards the playoffs. And I mean, hey, the regular season, when you got LeBron on your team, really doesn't mean much because we've seen it with LeBron in Cleveland where he really just kind of took the regular season off. They got the fourth seed. It was like, whatever. I'll take the fourth seed. And some people actually were fooled into thinking that the Cavs just weren't that good. And then LeBron turned in probably one of his best playoff performances of his career, just smoking the entire Eastern Conference, getting to the finals. So, I'm not worried. I'm just happy I got Anthony Davis back so the Lakers can start winning some ball games again consistently. But yeah, so that's my buttery pick this week is the Lakers getting their man Anthony Davis back on the court finally.
Yeah, it's definitely big. The Lakers haven't slid as far as you would have thought. They had a couple of decent wins in there, some bad losses, but that's
Yeah.
that's how it goes when you don't have that great of a roster. You're gonna have some great wins and you're gonna have some really bad losses. But they're the fifth seed right now with AD coming back. I honestly don't see them sliding below the fifth seed, which means that if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, then they would be playing the Denver Nuggets, who are down again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray with a torn ACL saw today that he successfully underwent surgery to repair his ACL. So, hoping for a quick recovery from him because I like the NBA. I don't like seeing players get hurt, and I want to see the best players out there every night, which is why I get extremely pissed off when players are they come back for like 3 games and then they sit out another 3 games with soreness, right thigh soreness when they had like a left ankle injury. I don't know. It's just I get tired of it because it gets bad. Because then we get what happened the other night with the Nets, where we could have had a fantastic Eastern Conference showdown between the 1 and 2 seeds, but we got Kyrie Irving and a bunch of other guys against the 76ers. So, but no, yeah, it's absolutely big. And then LeBron's going to be coming back right at the perfect time. So, if he's out another 2 weeks, there's like 20 games left in the season,
Give or take.
maybe
Yeah.
give or take. I guess depending on how many games you played in the first half of the season and how many got canceled or postponed. So let's go with like 20, maybe 18, 17. 2 weeks, he'll come back with 8 or 9 games or so left, maybe. And that's plenty of time to get back into game shape and get back into form before the playoffs. So it's perfect timing. And of course it is because it's LeBron. Everything is perfect for LeBron. Everything always happens perfectly for that man.
That is true. You're not wrong.
So I am in fact, even though my team has no shot of winning the title, I'm scared for the other 4 teams above them and then the other teams that eventually make the playoffs, because again, this is all falling in LeBron's way. People are getting injured. He's coming back at the right time.
Yep.
It's just the writing's on the wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jamal Murray got hurt. Donovan Mitchell is dealing with injuries now. Uh, it's almost like LeBron planned this.
Exactly. Wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it. But my buttery pick, Anthony, similar to you,
Yep.
you
Mm-hmm.
have been waiting months. I have been waiting even more months for the return of my unicorn, Jaren Jackson Jr. It's not confirmed that he's back tonight, but the man is questionable. He's questionable. That means game time decision. That means he is suiting up tonight, and they're playing the Clippers tonight. He's suiting up. He's gonna warm up. He's gonna be ready. And Taylor Jenkins, head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, can look over to the bench and call out his name, and he'll finally get his first NBA minutes since tearing his ACL, or not tearing his ACL, tearing his meniscus since the bubble. That's how long it has been. That's how long I've been waiting for this man to come back and play.
Crazy.
And this is a guy in his second year dropped 43 on Giannis's head. It was a beautiful game. I wish I could go back and watch that game. He hit like 7 or 8 3-pointers. The man was on fire. He is a tried and true unicorn. He is everything that the Knicks thought Porzingis was going to be. This is him. And he's down the Mississippi in Memphis, Tennessee on Beale Street. That's where the unicorn's located at. But just the fact that he's coming back at the right time too. Grizzlies still won't be fully healthy because my boy Valanciunas is out with a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. But 99% of the Grizzlies are back, and I can say that that's been like the first time in like 8 years that 99% of the Grizzlies have been fully healthy. I had to sit through a season, Anthony, 26 different starters. 26 different starters because of injury. It was horrific. I forget what year that was. I want to say it was like 2017 or 2018. Anyway.
Now, don't worry, as a Laker fan, I sat through some pretty bad years.
Everybody's been there. I've been seeing the Knicks fans like showing like their lineups.
Their lineups of Langston Galloway. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember.
And it's like, yeah, like we can't be too mad at you guys for being hyped right now. You know? You guys aren't there yet.
They were down bad. They were down bad.
I get it. You guys are down bad, but yeah, but I'm so excited. I'm tuning in to tonight's game, and I am hoping it's like 2 hours till tip off. I'm hoping and praying that I get to see that man hit the court tonight. It's just gonna be beautiful. So excited.
Yeah, you've been waiting a long time for Triple J to come back. Oh. It's been forever. I feel like we've been talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. The return of this man forever.
No, and honestly, he probably could have came back a month ago. The way that
but you know what?
Management
don't.
No, I get it too. And the reason why management was wanting to be slow with it was because they wanted him to like be completely 100%.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want him back 80, they didn't want him back 95, they wanted him back 100%. And Jaren, as the first time he talked to the media since the bubble, it was early this month, and he was talking and he was saying that he's appreciative of everything that's happened because he's spent that time working on his game, working on his jump shot, his footwork, and building muscle too. So should be fun. If it's not tonight, it's this week. 100% it's this week.
See, it's just that's like the tricky thing with meniscus tears. I've seen guys come back from a meniscus tear in 2 to 3 weeks, but then there's also guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. come back in a little less than a year.
Yeah, and then there's me that I never had surgery on my torn meniscus, and if you're just
walking around still,
and well, I'm walking around, but I mean sometimes there's some days it hurts. Like there's some days like the last time I played basketball, which was the first time I got to play in like over a year because of the pandemic. Yeah, I had to put some icy hot on the meniscus tear knee.
Oh man, you better not let anyone know that during the pickup game. They'll like, go for his knee.
Don't worry, I got a knee brace. I got a knee brace now.
Good, good. All right. Well, moving on to my burnt pick this week. Okay, so happiness and positivity right out the window. Uh, my burnt toast this week is two guys on the Yankees that they are not the sole reason why we lost 5 games in a row. I will say that 100%, but they are definitely not helping us win in any stretch of the imagination. Aaron Hicks and Clint Frazier, both our outfielders. I will start off with Hicks because we paid Hicks 7 years, $70 million, and at the time, looking at that deal, I was like, you know what? That's actually not like it's not a bad deal. We only pay him 10 mil a year. And this was when he was still hitting like 240. He'd give us 25 home runs, somewhere around the 80s in RBIs, and he was a great fielder, switch hitter. But this season, the start of this season has been absolutely abysmal. Speaking of this, man, I'm watching the game, and I just watch him strike out on 4 pitches, and one is so far off the plate. I don't even know what he's swinging at. I'm watching the game, and of course I'm talking about it, but he's up, and I watch him just fail miserably. It's oh my god, it's poetic justice, I swear. Oh, it's unbelievable. So Hicks just sucks. I don't know what's been going on with him, but he's just terrible. He can't hit a beach ball right now. And the next guy is Clint Frazier, who I expected a hell of a lot more from than what he's done. Clint Frazier is like something crazy, like 0 for his last 20. He's batting in like the 100s now. And this is when he started off the season, the first couple of games. He had I would probably say a batting average of like 400 after like 5-6 games. It's not, a small sample size, but you're thinking, all right, at least Clint Frazier is having himself a good start to the year. Yeah, well, that just changed at literally snap of fingers. It was right downhill. This man couldn't do no right. I don't even think he hasn't got on base in like 15 straight at bats or something like that. Like, that's bad. I understand. All right, you don't get base hits, but at least get walks. He's not even getting walks. He's just straight strikeout, pop. Like it's not good for either one of them. It's even so bad that the both of them have been taken out of the lineup a lot recently, especially yesterday. They were both not in the lineup, and we actually won the game. So who knows? Maybe that's a secret. Keep them on the bench until they both can wake up and hit the ball. I guess it blows my mind. It really does, because we shouldn't be this bad, hitting wise at least. Pitching, I expected our pitching to not be that great besides Garrett Cole. But the funny part is our pitching has actually been one of the best in the majors. It's our hitting is so abysmally terrible that we can't win games. And it's driving me nuts. And Aaron Hicks and Clint Frazier, they deserve most of the blame. 100% they deserve most of the blame.
Yeah, see, with which real quick, it is confirmed. Jaren Jackson Jr. is in the lineup for tonight. He will play. So, but that's it. That's the last bit of positivity going into mine, because for my burnt pick, it's kind of the opposite problem where the hitting's fine, but the pitching is awful, and that is the entire St. Louis Cardinals bullpen. Okay. Now, I am a longtime Cardinals fan. I can remember freaking out when I was much younger, when David Eckstein, he like triples to tie the game against the Rangers in game 5 of the World Series, game 5 or 6 of the World Series, and hits the walk-off home run to go to the next game, wins the MVP. Some great times, okay? And I still have a lot of like collections of cards at home too. And I'm trying to like get back into this because I had a falling out with baseball, but now I'm trying to find that love once again. But the Cardinals are making it hard, okay? And specifically their pitching. Their pitching is awful. There's only 2 pitchers right now that have 2 or more wins, and one of them, granted, he's 3-0 right now, but it's not been because of him. Okay. Here's been the score. It's all been because of the bats. Okay. He pitched a great game against the Marlins. His name is oh gosh, dude, like this is how like bad I am out of baseball. Like I can't even pronounce these names, but it's like Flaherty, Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, Flaherty. Okay, yeah. Jack Flaherty. Okay. Yeah. See, I'm terrible with names to begin with, and if I never hear them, I'm gonna butcher them. You know.
Now, don't
I
worry.
know.
I don't know. Like
I had to listen. I had to listen to Trey say your name like 5 or 6 times before I even attempted it by myself. Okay.
I was gonna say that's like the only that's like the only pitcher on the Cardinals that I know. But I don't know many. Like I don't know that much like about the other players
Yeah.
in the National League. Like I'll know American League players, but National League players, I only know you if you're like top of the top. If you're like really
Yeah,
good.
and he's 3-0, but he pitched a shutout against the Marlins. But the Cardinals ended up winning that 7-0. His second win came against Washington. He gave up 3 runs, but the Cards scored 14. And then in his last one, he gave up 5 runs to the Nationals, but the Cards scored 12. So it's like he's winning, but it's not him doing the winning. It's the bats are hot that game, and the bats are hot most of the time. You know, they're losing games, but they're also scoring runs in the same time, and it's because the past week and a half, basically after the first week, the pitching has just fallen off a cliff, and it's everybody. It is everybody. The only other like shining light is freaking Ponce de Leon. Like that's the only other guy that's like looking good, and he's a relief pitcher.
Wow,
He's only winning because whoever is starting in front of him gets kicked out after the 4th inning because he's already given up 3 or 4 runs. So it's absolutely abysmal pitching, and it's just our teams have the opposite problem where if they just do a little bit better, and if the Yankees did a little bit better job at hitting and the Cardinals did a little bit better job at pitching, then they'd be doing fine, but they're not. And I don't know if there's a way to address that right now for them. And the fact that Adam Wainwright is still getting thrown out there, it's like,
oh my God, he still plays.
He's still pitching, bro. He's still in the starting rotation.
Oh my Lord, what is he? He's got to be like your 4th or 5th starter by now.
Let me check the rotation. Yeah, he's listed at 2.
2? Oh my God. How old is Wainwright? I thought this dude was retired like 2 years ago.
This just says he was born in 81. So if that tells you anything. Let's see, what's 2021? Sheesh.
Born in 81.
40.
He's 40?
40, yeah, 40.
40? Yeah.
40-year-old man. 40-year-old man. He's walking out there as the number 2 guy in the rotation.
I remember Adam Wainwright being the closer. Okay, that's how long this guy's been in the MLB. I remember him being the Cardinals closer. Then they turned him into the starter. And right when you guys won the World Series behind him, he was like one of the best pitchers in baseball. Actually, fun for you. When 2K used to make the baseball game, Adam Wainwright, I used to take Adam Wainwright and trade him to the Yankees and just dominate people with CC.
He was nasty back in the day. Yeah, like 2009, 2010. Oh,
yeah, exactly. This was based, I think, MLB 2K11.
Yeah. Oh, those were the glory days. You know, except for the years that we always got swept by the Red Sox in the World Series. That happened twice.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, listen, you still won a good amount.
Hey, we got 2. We got 2, and we've gotten 2 in my lifetime. So
yeah, as a Yankee fan, I've been spoiled, which is why like we are all so very upset over the past like I don't know 11, 12 years. That like normally you get one and you get like one in your lifetime and you're happy. Like this is like this could go for football. Like this goes for football too. If your team gets one in their life, like in your lifetime, you're happy. Like I know Jets fans that are like 40 years old, 40, 50 years old. They've never won a Super Bowl. They've never had that feeling of their team winning a Super Bowl. Like, I mean, I've been spoiled. The Yankees have won 5 in my lifetime. The Giants won 2 in my lifetime. The Lakers have won 5 in my lifetime. So I just get spoiled. That's the problem. So I expect.
No. I mean, I have no other choice but to keep rooting for the Cardinals, because if I stop rooting for the Cardinals, then No one else is going to win me a championship anytime soon.
Except except the Dolphins. Dolphins are on the up
Yeah,
and up.
Dolphins may. Dolphins may. We'll see.
we will see.
Can't catch a break. We go from Tom Brady to Josh Allen, though.
Yeah, no, that sucks. But hey, listen. You guys got Tua. All right. I'm getting off topic because I'll just show my Tua love right now. So we'll take a quick break right here. Hear a word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back with my extra crispy.
The following is brought to you in partnership by Symbol. Symbol is a new sports marketplace where you can trade shares of professional teams like stocks. You love sports. You interested in fantasy sports without the weekly annoyance of fantasy league upkeep? Then Symbol's the app for you. With Symbol, fantasy sports is going to a whole other level. How it works is simple. You buy Symbol shares for your favorite sim teams on the app. When your sim team wins, you get automatic cash deposits, and you don't lose any money when they lose. That's it. So if you follow trends across football, basketball, and baseball, and you think your team is a sleeper, simply invest in your favorite sim teams on Symbol and watch your virtual portfolio prove you right or wrong. And if you want to get in on the action right away, Vendetta Sports Media's got you covered. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and use our exclusive promo code Vendetta, and you'll get a $10 bonus when making your first deposit. Symbol, taking fantasy sports to a whole other level.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So for my extra crispy this week, we are going up the ladder. We're going to Brian Cashman, the general manager of the New York Yankees. Now, why are we going to Brian Cashman? I mean, everyone heard that press conference? Okay. It's getting to the point with him, especially, like Boone is on the teetering point of breaking my back. But Cashman, I've been dealing with for much, much longer. And he's really grinding. He's been grinding my gears for years. This guy, no matter what happens, the sky could be falling down on the Yankees. We could be even worse than what we are right now. And Brian Cashman gets up there and he's like, oh, well, we are disappointed in the start to the season, but I know we'll turn it around. Which, if anyone that doesn't really know, translates into, I know we suck, but I'm going to keep running the same guys out there every week. And if they can't do it, then, oh, well. Like, we're going to try to change stuff. Like, this is what bothers me, because when you grow up as a Yankee fan, you grew up and you were used to George Steinbrenner, one of the best owners in professional sports. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that wanted to win, was George Steinbrenner. All he wanted to do was win. He didn't care what it cost, who he had to trade, what he needed to do. He just wanted to win. And when the Yankees lost, if they went on a losing streak, there were people getting fired immediately, especially if George Steinbrenner was still alive owning the team and this 5-game losing streak was going on. There would have been at least 20 different people fired out of the organization. Coaches included, training staff, doesn't matter. He would have been on the phone trying to trade people already. That's just the type of man that he is. And, you grow up watching a guy like that, and to now it's his son Hal and Cashman are kind of hand in hand in this. And Hal is more about the business and wants to make money. And that's what I hate. I hate when owners come into this business and they really they want to win, but they want to win on a budget. And we're the Yankees. We have more money than God. Okay. We can spend money. Okay. We can spend the money. It's very annoying. And then Cashman, it's just there's no point of these press conferences from him because he says the same thing every time. He really does. Every single year, you could even go back to last year and the year before. There's always a point in the season when the Yankees have a little rough patch through a month of the season where struggling. You could always go and find one of those months and find a Boone or Brian Cashman press conference, and they literally say the exact same thing over and over and over again. And you know what? It's just getting to the point where I'm just getting very, very annoyed of listening to it. At least tell me something different. Flat out tell me to my face the team sucks and I'm going to change it. Dude, I would be so happy if he did that, but he doesn't. So, he just wants me. He just wants me to get mad at him. I guess.
Is there anybody in the Yankees minor league organizations system? Like, is there anybody down there that they could bring up that's worth bringing up? Or have they
I
just
mean,
thought
like
we're the Yankees, we can buy anybody?
there's a couple guys like Florial, but it's guys like Florial, but I don't know if I don't think they're MLB ready because I've seen Florial in spring training quite a bit, and I don't think he's MLB ready yet. We do have the young project in Jason Dominguez, who is already being hyped up as they're calling him the Martian, the alien, better than Mike Trout. Like, I'm sorry, but the kid is listen, the kid's 17 years old, but he looks like he's 27 with 3 kids. Like, he's a massive man. Okay, so I'm sure he can hit the ball about 500 feet. That's not my issue. He's not MLB ready yet. There's really nobody we can really bring up. I mean, we bring up guys here and there. There is one guy who really should be on the roster right now, and I'm really kind of annoyed that he's not. Is Davy Garcia. Because Davy Garcia last year, pitching wise, when everyone else was struggling and the entire team was hurt. Okay, Davy Garcia was the one kid who stepped up in there, stopped like a 4-game losing streak for us. Really started to really turned us around. Like, he put together some excellent starts, and he's one of my favorite young players that we have. I'm just upset that he's not with the team right now, that they put him to the alternate site. That I'm not happy about. But as far as minor leaguers, that's really it. I mean, there's guys that we need to trade for. Believe me, like, we actually need a real shortstop. I need to stop the charade of Glaber being the shortstop. But that just depends on what people are asking for. Because I don't know, as Cashman tells me, that people are asking for basically his Cashman's left arm and his firstborn child for like Mike Minor, which I really don't believe. But okay, Cashman, tell me whatever you want. All I know is if the Yankees are still 500 at the All-Star break or like right before the trade deadline, they better make some like blockbuster moves, because it won't be pretty in New York, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure, and we will have our local Yankees fanatic, Anthony Fontanello, to guide us through the anger that all Yankees fans across New York are saying. He will be our interpreter, our inside man into that, and I can't wait for it. I'm honestly here for it. I love the Yankees drama. I love it all.
I know everyone loves the Yankees drama, especially when it comes from my mouth.
All right, so my extra crispy, I kind of made a last minute game time adjustment here.
Okay.
With this one, and it's just because they deserve to be roasted. And it is a group of people that we have called out multiple times before here at Vendetta, and it's Pro Football Focus.
Okay.
Because it's just kind of because something has come back up again because of a tweet they put out today of basically poking fun at who was it? It was the Vikings coaching staff. They were laughing at the Eagles and Howie Roseman because they took Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. They're like, oh, remember when this happened? Oh, that was so funny. And it's like, I can't believe they passed up on Jefferson for Jalen Reagor. And it's like, hold on a sec, PFF, because you guys had Jalen Reagor as number 5 on your top wide receiver board in the 2020 NFL draft. Justin Jefferson was 8. You had Jalen Reagor as a top 5 receiver coming into the draft. And I will read it. And it's like, this is your stupid system. Whatever your formula is that you put together, your awful and horrific takes. This is what you guys said about him. Don't worry about the lack of production in 2019. You don't put on tape what Rager did as a true sophomore in 2018 without serious talent. If you need some juice in your offense, Rieger is your guy. Jalen Rieger sucks.
It's pretty bad.
The man flat out cannot play football. Okay? I just how do you put him ahead of Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson was not only top 5 for us here at Vendetta, we had him. He was the 3rd receiver off our board, I want to say, last year in our mock draft. He went to the Raiders. Like, that's how early he went. He went to the Raiders. He didn't slide into the 20s like he did in the real draft. He was taken in like the middle part of the draft. And he and I will say this, my Madden simulation was correct. He balled out, but he balled out even more in real life than what he did in my Madden simulation that I did. But I'm tired of these guys. I'm honestly sick of PFF. I'm sick of the way they walk around thinking like they're the best because they have some mathematical equation that is supposed to determine who is good and who is bad. They had Baker Mayfield as like the number 1 guy coming out of the draft when he was drafted, and he's what, maybe QB 3, 4, 5, out of that draft. It blows my freaking mind that this site, that people honestly pay attention to anybody that works for PFF, to anybody that works on that site, because that formula is stupid. I hate pure analytics. Purely driven analytical takes are absolutely horrendous takes, and that's all PFF is, and that's all they do is they just add to the analytical problem that is infesting sports. It's destroyed baseball. It is really starting to make its way into basketball. It's getting annoying in basketball, and it's getting annoying in football too, because you see some stupid decisions in football now because all the analytics say that, and it's like, no, you have to have situational common sense. Okay, the analytics say that you're better off taking a 3-pointer than taking a 2-pointer, but when you have a wide open lane, this is something that literally happened at the end of an NBA game. You have a wide open lane on a fast break, pass it off to someone, let them take the layup, you tie the game, you go to overtime. No, you stop on the fast break, you shoot the 3, you brick it, and you lose the game. The analytics say you're better off taking the 3 than the 2, but you just lost the freaking game because you shot the 3 on a fast break, and it's literally a 3-0 fast break run. It makes no sense. I'm done with analytics. I'm done with PFF. I'm gonna start blocking them. I'm tired of saying their name. I'm tired of feeling this way towards them. I want them out of my life. They're a cancer, and I want to get rid of them.
It's one of the best things to do, to just block some things out of your life. It's funny because I know exactly what game you're talking about, and was it I believe it was the Nuggets, right? It was the Nuggets.
I think it was. Yes, it was, because it was Michael Porter Jr. that ended up shooting the shot.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And Jamal Murray, I believe, was mad at himself for even making the pass. He was like, I should have just took it to the hole. I don't know what I was thinking of passing the 3-point line. But at the same time, that play, I do remember it because I was like up in arms of how they even did this. A fast break. It was like 3-0 or 4-1. It was some crazy odds numbers. You just go right to the rim, put up a layup, go to overtime. They had all 4 guys go to the 3-point line. Like, what are you doing? Somebody cut. Like, I don't understand. What's going on here? And, just like what you say with PFF, the analytics of football are like very behind and like very bad. Like, listen, I'm not going to sit up here and be like one of these old guys yelling at clouds and say analytics don't belong in games at all. I mean, like, all right, they help. Like, it's evident with the teams that use them the most. I'll just say, because I know the Tampa Bay Rays use analytics probably the most out of anybody in baseball. I mean, they got to the World Series last year. Yes, they got to the World Series, but then the analytics then lost them that World Series. But that's the thing. You have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to look at the paper, look at the analytics, and sit there with your gut and just look at it and say, you know what? It tells me I should put in the lefty here. but I'm really feeling like the guy I got on the mound is going to get the job done. I'm going to let him go out there and I'm going to, just see what happens. If he lets two guys on, I'm taking him out. That's what we don't have anymore. Like we used to have back in this is way back in the days of baseball. I don't know if people remember this, but it was when Bobby Cox was still coaching the Atlanta Braves. I believe it was like 2008 or 2009, 2010, something like that. And he was trying to take out his starting pitcher, who at the time I believe was their ace. I don't remember the guy's name. But he literally was yelling from the mound, "Go back in the dugout. I still got it. Go back in the dugout." And Bobby Cox was like, "Okay, fine." And then he walked right back in the dugout. And this stuff happened all the time. It used to happen back in the day with Mike Mussina, where Joe Torre would try to take him out, and Mike Mussina would just be screaming at him from the mound to go back in the dugout, and he would go back in the dugout. Like, we don't get those anymore because the analytics are like, "Oh, listen, buddy, I ran it through the computer, and the computer told me I got to take you out, so you're coming out." It's like, you got to have a feel for what's going on. Don't just blindly throw crap into a computer and call it a take. Like PFF, I believe, had freaking Baker Mayfield as not only the best quarterback of that draft. I'm pretty sure that they rated him one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Okay, so let's pump the brakes on this computer crap for a minute. All right, it's getting a little out of hand. Anyway. Uh, anyway, we will move on to my soggy toast this week. Now, my soggy toast is none other than the man that I just saw strike out with nobody on, with one man on and no outs. That would be Giancarlo Stanton, the guy we're paying $375 million to, who's batting a solid 107 with 3 home runs and less than 10 RBIs. I mean, this guy was a former NL MVP, and it's like as soon as he came to the Yankees, he just forgot how to play baseball. He's to the point now where he gets hurt so much that the Yankees don't play him in the field anymore. He is literally the DH and nothing else. They said Giancarlo Stanton will not play the field at all this year. You're telling me I'm paying a guy $375 million and he doesn't even bring a glove to the stadium anymore? What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Like, at some point,
at least let him carry like Aaron Judge's bag or something.
I know he really should be. It's become a joke. And you know what? Like last postseason, he was like actually doing good. He hit like 8 home runs in the playoffs, which Giancarlo Stanton never did before. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, maybe he's turning it around. Things are getting better. You know what it is? The guy can't handle New York because there was a difference about that postseason last year. There was no fans in the stadium. He was bombing the ball all over the place. If you put fans in the stadium, he's not doing that. Like you should hear how much Yankee fans hate Giancarlo Stanton. When you go to a stadium, Giancarlo Stanton is booed every single time that man steps up to the plate. Every single time, it feels like he just either strikes out or flies out or just something just dumb. And I'm just tired of it because, like, I don't like paying guys this much money and they don't produce. At least the last time we paid a guy a crap ton of money, which was CC and A-Rod, those boys produced, okay? They produced. Giancarlo Stanton doesn't produce, doesn't do anything really, and I'm really getting sick and tired of the man. Like I tried defending him for a while, for a good year and a half. I was really trying to defend him, and then I'm watching him, and I would sit there and say to myself, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to defend you. You're making it really, really hard. You know that, right? You're making it very hard for me to defend you right now. So I just gave up. I stopped. I'm not defending him no more. That's it. Giancarlo Stanton, you're my soggy toast you might as well be my soggy toast of forever because you're just awful. So I don't know what to do with you anymore.
You're paying a man $300 million to be batting 158.
I told you it was bad.
That's horrific.
I told you.
Oh man. My gosh.
I told you it's terrible.
158.
It's terrible.
Even I never dipped below 200. Jeez, which I mean, I never played in the majors, but still.
I didn't know Derek Jeter didn't like us that much that he would give us this guy. Like we could have got. Realistically, we couldn't have got these guys because they all went away in other deals and whatnot. But at one point, the Marlins had an outfield of Giancarlo Stanton, Christian Yelich, and I believe Marcelo Zuna. I think, don't quote me on that. I forget who the third outfielder was, but he's still good. Yeah, why couldn't we have got Yelich? Why couldn't we have got someone like that? Instead, we get just another one of these guys that's home run or nothing. It's either you strike out, you walk, or you hit a home run. Then that's
Dude,
like
my baseball knowledge is like so minuscule, but if you gave me $300 million to go sign someone or a couple people, I think I could probably find someone or a couple people for $300 million that would be batting better than 158.
Yeah, no, believe me, I think I personally
At minimum I could get
bat better than
somebody that's hitting
158.
210 or a 210, 220 maybe.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's incredibly awful. Man's 0 for 4 tonight with a strikeout.
Uh-huh.
That is horrific. Your man is getting paid. I want to know how much that man is getting paid per at bat.
I don't even want to know. It's probably some ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's getting 1.5 hits for every 10 at bats. I want to know how much every base hit is worth now, because he's only getting 1 base hit per 10 at bats.
It's horrible. It's really bad. Yeah, the Yankees are down bad right now, and everybody is getting it from me. Like, nobody is safe at this moment. Like, really, nobody is safe at this moment.
Trade them all.
Yeah. Oh God, you don't even know how close I am to just start ranting and raving about that.
All right, so we'll go to my soggy toast, and I can't remember if I've talked about them recently or not before. Going back to the NBA, it's going to be the Chicago Bulls, and specifically ever since the Vucevic trade, because it looks like now the Bulls got the raw end of the deal on that. Because I don't know if you've seen Wendell Carter since he's gotten to Orlando. Dude's balling. Dude yeah. is grabbing rebounds and going coast to coast and throwing it down now, like he's a 6'9" point guard. It's absolutely insane. Man's popping off, and you love to see it. You love to see a dude get traded from one team where he didn't have a lot going on there, and he goes to a new team and he starts popping off. I love seeing that stuff. Except for when it happens to the Grizzlies, and that most of the time that's true. Anybody that's an ex-Grizzly, that next season you need to watch out for them, because they're gonna explode. But the Bulls, ever since that trade, they've gone down in the standings. They're not even in the playoff. Well, they're still in the playoff hunt technically, but only because we got the play-in game or the play-in series this year. They are 24-33. They are tied right now with Washington for that 10th spot. I guess if the playoffs were to end the day, they would get that 10th spot because they own a tiebreaker. But then the Raptors are just a half game behind them. And with give or take 17 to 20 games left, again, depending on, how the schedule worked out for teams, depending on how many games they missed in the first half of the season. All it could take is just a 3-4 game skid, and then that's it. It's over. Yeah. Their playoff hopes are over. And I was correct in assuming that Zach LaVine was going to have an all-star year this year. He has taken an exceptional leap forward, and is still a guy that I'm holding out hope that Memphis can woo away and pull in a trade of some sort. If the Bulls continue to suck and not go anywhere and not do anything. But I feel bad for Bulls fans, because like Yankee fans, they were spoiled because they had the GOAT Michael Jordan on their squad, and then Derrick Rose, and the unfortunate injury that happened to him, and one of the greatest what ifs in sports. with D Rose and those Bull teams. But they've been down bad, and this was supposed to be like their up year. And then even Kobe White has kind of disappeared in the past couple months. Bulls fans are really sick and tired of him. They don't think he's it anymore. And this is a dude in his first game it was like his second game as a rookie. I want to say I watched him at the Forum. The man dropped over 30 points, which was insane. 30 points at the FedEx Forum, and like he outdueled Ja. Like that was Ja's second game in the league too, and Ja's the number 2 overall pick, and he got the floor mopped. But he was whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just kind of ranting. But anyway, the Chicago Bulls have just been severely disappointing. I was high on them. I at least thought they were a low tier playoff team, maybe like a 7th or a 6th seed. But right now they're the 10th seed. They're in danger of not making the playoffs. And the Vucevic trade it's been disappointing because they gave up a lot of first round picks for him, and it looks like Orlando's won for now has won the trade.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see on that. Like I got Vucevic on my fantasy team. As far as I'm concerned, all I really care about is if Vucevic is eating, and I know
he's been eating.
I know he's eating. Yeah. The Bulls are like an enigma to me for the reason of like this. They don't, no matter who they have, like you would think with an all-star Zach LaVine, now you got Vucevic, you would think that they'd start winning some games, like start making some noise, but they don't. And like they've always been this like they've been in this weird rough patch after the Derrick Rose era and basically the whole the Thibodeau era, where they used to play just hard-nosed defense and just give the ball to Derrick Rose and let him just wow the entire arena. Those days.
Now Tom Thibodeau and D Rose are doing that in New York.
Now Tom Thibodeau and D Rose are doing that at MSG. That's right. That's exactly. Oh man, it's been crazy to me that they really have not like gotten any traction going. Like they really haven't done. They can't like do any. They can't do much.
And it's almost not necessarily their fault either because they never hit on the lottery.
That's the thing.
They had the 7th pick in the draft like 3 years in a row.
That's where the lottery starts to get me, because if you get it, you get teams like, I know this is like to prevent tanking, but at the same time, why don't like look at the NFL where there's no lottery, but you're a team that gets the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, you're going to have a top 10 pick again the next year, unless you go on some crazy overhaul, but that doesn't really happen too much. But within a matter of like 3-4 years, you end up being in the playoffs. Like, look at the Bills. The Bills were picking in the top 5 for who knows how long, just because they couldn't get anything right as far as drafting a quarterback went. And then they finally land Josh Allen. Next thing you know, now they're now they're in the prime of AFC title picture, possibly Super Bowl picture. It's just it really falls like in that order. I wouldn't say so much about the tanking. It's more of like the GM's got to do their job right. They have to draft right.
Yeah.
But when you're the Bulls and you're getting bad lotteries, like the Knicks, believe me, I know about it because the Knicks have gotten bad lotteries forever. Like the Knicks have always been the worst team in the NBA, and they
dropped a 4.
Like the Lakers get great luck on the lottery. Don't know why. Whenever we're in the lottery, we'll be like the 23 or 22 team, and we'll end up getting like a top 5 pick, which I mean, I'm going to be quite honest with you, really should not happen.
Yeah,
but
that was Memphis the year they got. That was Memphis the year they got Ja. They were like the number 12 or 13 team. There's 14 teams in the lottery. They were at the tail end of the lottery, jumped to number 2 overall. It was insane, and that literally turned around the franchise. It literally turned around the franchise. The Grizzlies would not be where they're at right now, fighting for a playoff spot after 2 years back-to-back of being in the lottery, if it wasn't for the fact that they jumped up to 4 and then got Jaren Jackson, and then miraculously like no zero gravity just like nosedived to the 2nd overall pick to grab Ja.
Yeah, and you know with the Lakers too, it was funny because I remember that year it was like we got LeBron, and then we were getting I think we were in talks of getting AD, like serious talks of getting AD at the time. And when I was watching the lottery, I think I was watching it with like a couple of my friends, and I'm just sitting there watching every name get called. It's not the Lakers, and I'm going, "You guys know we're gonna get Zion, right? We're gonna get Zion too, right?" I mean, that didn't happen, but uh, I always
Oh,
think
I
about
was
how
freaking
crazy.
out. I
I
was
always think about how crazy it
wigging
would
out
be to
hardcore.
have LeBron, Zion, and Anthony Davis playing for the Lakers. It would be pretty unfair, but
Now you're starting to get into Knicks territory where it's like we're getting everybody. We're getting Kyrie, KD, and Zion.
oh,
And
I used to be bad. I used to be bad. I used to be the Laker fan that thought we were getting everyone. I think at one point I thought our team was gonna look like it was gonna be Kobe Bryant, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Uh
uh,
oh yeah, no, I was I was a lunatic. I was a lunatic. I was
hey,
thinking we were getting
I mean,
everybody.
the reports were out there that if the Clippers hadn't pulled off the PG trade, that
I
the
know
Lakers were in serious consideration of getting
Kawhi probably
Kawhi.
would have went to the Lakers. I mean, listen, to be honest, I don't really know if I would have wanted that only from and now obviously we would have won. Like we would have been a lock to win the finals pretty much for the next 3 years. But just from a competitive standpoint, like that wouldn't have been fair. Yeah, Kawhi and LeBron on the same team. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, yeah. All the ratings would have tanked so bad.
Two of the top three best players in the NBA are on one team. And then throw Anthony Davis, you got three of the top like six or
Like
seven players.
five or six,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, on one team. Like that wouldn't have been fair. But you know what? We won the title anyway. So you know what? Kawhi can go and stay his ass in the little boy Clippers for all I care with pandemic P. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna take another quick break here before we wrap up the show at our final two segments. But stay with us. Hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags, or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the US, go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the UK, go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers.
All right, guys. So welcome back. Got our last two segments to wrap us up here. So my toast of the week. I don't really know if there's anybody else. To be honest, I don't know if I could even qualify this guy for toast of the week, but I'm doing it anyway. Is Ben freaking Askren for getting knocked the fuck out from Jake
Oh, yeah.
Paul in that stupid boxing match. And
Rigged.
you know what really bothers me? You know what really bothers me is just because Ben Askren just makes all the UFC guys look terrible. Well, not and personally, not really. I don't think he does, just because of the fact of I mean, take a look at Ben Askren. This like as soon as he took off his shirt, you could tell that this guy gave not a single crap about this fight. All he was doing it for was the money. Now, whether he took a dive or not, I don't know. I really don't like it. I personally think he may have taken a dive, and he was like I
Went
don't think
full Jose Canseco on
I think
this
he went.
thing.
I think he went full Jose Canseco on this thing. I really do. I think he just said, "Screw it. I'm going to take like a 10-second loss, and I'm going to bounce out of here with all this money." You know what kills me is like after the fight, he's smiling ear to ear with his wife, walking away like, "Yeah, we just
He
made all
got
that money."
he got the cheese. He
Like
got
it's
all that
crazy.
Doge and just walked out.
Yeah, basically. Uh, I mean, this just goes more for my hatred for Jake Paul. I absolutely hate him. I hate him and his brother. I think they're the two worst YouTube people like
Oh,
on
they are
earth, and
cancers to
I
society.
can't stand either one of them. And like just seeing like all this crap, and now Jake Paul's calling out like Daniel Cormier, and I hate Daniel Cormier. But do not make me go and root for Daniel Cormier against Jake Paul, because I will really hate myself. I hate DC. I hate it. But I will root for him if he goes and fights Jake Paul. And you know who's going to fight Jake Paul someday soon? It's not a matter of if, but when. You know Conor McGregor is going to go for a fight with Jake Paul. You know that man is going to go for a fight. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Floyd didn't have a
Come
fight
out of retirement. Yeah.
Yeah, come out of retirement to fight Jake Paul.
I'm glad you brought up Conor, because you mean to tell me this dude who's a UFC fighter, like, took it, like, you're supposed to tell me that Jake Paul beat him in top shape when literally the most money that's ever been on the line in a fight was Mayweather and McGregor. And McGregor went out there and tried his all to beat the living crap out of Mayweather.
McGregor actually cared about the fight. He at least cared about, wanting to put on a show. Askren didn't even give a shit.
I know. For one, I'm never going to take Jake Paul seriously as a boxer, because this dude has been boxing for like 5 years, if that.
Yeah.
And it was like early on, he lost to KSI. Is that his name? I think they had like 2 fights, and one was a draw, and one I think was a split decision with KSI winning or something like that. Yeah. I can't remember, but I think it's to me, this is just it's all fair. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's a step up from the WWE, because at least they're throwing real punches and people are getting knocked out. Like, I think Nate Robinson literally got knocked out. But you think I'm supposed to be impressed? You think I'm supposed to be impressed because you knocked out a dude that's like my height and is like in his close to 40 something?
You knocked out the shortest guy that played in the NBA in his time, and he's 40 years old. Like, come on.
And he's not and Nate Robinson's 100% not a boxer. Okay, I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed by the dudes that you've beat. And then the fight that happened, I'm not impressed by it either, because I fully think the dude just took a dive. Even if it wasn't like he was approached by someone who's like, hey, take a dive, here's like an extra cut. The dude was like, I'm just gonna make an easy paycheck. I'm gonna take it easy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stand a few rounds, I'm gonna take a shot, and I'm gonna just collapse, act like I'm dead, and then 5 seconds later I'm up smiling with my wife, and everything's fine, everything's good. You don't act that way if you literally get knocked out by a dude that's not a fighter, okay? You should have been embarrassed. Your pride should have been hurt. You should have been able to call yourself a man anymore, or a fighter anymore, if that legitimately happened.
Oh.
And Courtney's saying Mayweather posted on his Instagram Jake Paul fight. Now I'm gonna have to root for Mayweather too, dude. I don't care much for Mayweather as a.
See, that's where we're different. I love Mayweather.
Like, I respect the man.
I'm a big Mayweather guy.
I respect the man, but I'm like a classic boxer, a classic boxer level, where it's like just 2 dudes that are just throwing haymakers everywhere, and no one's leaving that ring until someone's knocked out. Listen, Mayweather is more of a points guy.
Yeah, no, see,
which is smart. It's smart.
That's what I've always said. That. Like, Mayweather, he draws the most money just because he himself, his persona, is entertaining.
Yeah,
and he just knows how to talk. He knows how to get people like excited for a fight. Like, it's funny. He is probably one of the best con man I've ever known, because for the past, let's say, 10 years, it has been a long time since Mayweather was knocking people out. Like, he hasn't done that really since he was young. He is the best defensive boxer, should I say. Best defensive boxer probably of all time. Nobody could touch this guy. Not Pacquiao. Canelo barely was able to touch him. Conor couldn't, Conor couldn't touch him. He's just, like, that's just how he is. And it's funny because people know that. And then they watch the fight and then get mad that Floyd's just running around. He's not really running around. He's just creating space and hitting the guy with counter 1-2s, backing out. He's not going to knock him out, but he's going to get all his points and he's going to win. Yeah. He's going to win the fight. And they know that that's going to happen, but yet what happens? They pay for the fight. Every time Floyd has a fight,
the
they
50,
pay
60
for
bucks for the fight. Yeah.
They pay 50, 60 bucks, watch the fight, get mad about it, forget that they got mad about it, watch another Floyd fight. And, for me, it's like, just stop complaining at this point. You want to watch guys just go to town on each other? Yeah. Wait for Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, or wait for Fury and Wilder 2, or Fury and Wilder 3. Believe me, those guys will be just swinging haymakers at each other.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm a classic boxer guy. Like I know the man beat Rocky Marciano's record. What is it? What is Mayweather, like 54, 55 and 0?
I think he's 50 and 0 flat.
Yeah,
50 and 0 flat. Okay, yeah. So 50 and 0, but it's like a small handful of those are knockouts. You look at Rocky Marciano's, he's like 49 and 0, and it's like 40 of his wins are knockoughts.
Yeah, Rocky Marciano.
That man was putting you in the dirt. Okay, only one person was leaving that ring conscious when Marciano was walking into that fight, and 49 out of 49 times it was Marciano.
Yeah, exactly.
Walking out of there. So, like I said, and like, I get it. It's not my style of boxing, but I understand, like, that's what he had to do as his career got on to win. So I can appreciate that. And the man's a super ultra mega millionaire, and the guy can barely read. So kudos to him.
It reminds me of like his little like when he had his little beef with 50 Cent. 50 Cent was like read me a page of the Harry Potter book.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, that man's got cash for days. So God. I'm never gonna fault anybody for getting their cash.
No.
All right. So my toast of the week, had a couple of them I could pick from, but this one I just got to go with it. And it's not one particular person to go after. It's just kind of I hate to use the word like the mainstream media, because that's got some negative connotations with it, especially here in the South. But just the mainstream sports media. Let me put that caveat in there. When Zion Williamson said that he loved playing in Madison Square Garden, and literally the NBA world is like, Zion's coming to New York. Zion's coming to New York. Who was it? It was Matt Barnes. He was telling Pelicans fans, he's like, enjoy this time while it lasts, because that man's gone. Like, in 4 years, that man's gone. It's like, chill, bro. MJ said he loved playing in the Garden. He said the Garden was his favorite place to play. He never suited up for the Knicks. He never left the Bulls when times were tough to go team up with Ewing in New York. No. Everybody loves playing in the Garden because it literally is the mecca of basketball. Yeah. It is one of, and it's because the biggest stars always come out in New York. And it's like what you were talking about, there's some guys that are great ballers, whatever their sport is, but they can't make it in New York because New York is just a different breed. But if you can make it in New York, then you yourself are a different breed. It's why you can look at like basketball players, for instance, you look at MJ, LeBron, Kobe, Melo, some of the greatest games in basketball history have happened at the Garden. And that's why it's such a big deal when we talk about who has scored how many points at the Garden. It's that big of a deal. And I get that. So of course every player is going to say that, except throwing my Grizzlies in there again. They were complaining about having cold showers the last time they played in the Garden, but I blame that more on the owner. That's more the owner thing.
Believe me, I've been in the Garden. I've been in the Garden locker rooms, and listen, if you are not playing for the Knicks or the Rangers, you got scraps, okay? Because believe me, they did not like when I was wrestling in college, we wrestled in Madison Square Garden. First of all, they didn't even give us like a guest locker room. We had like a closet. And I was like, this is a locker room. They were like, what? You guys thought you were getting the Knicks locker room? I said, no, but I thought I was getting at least like the guest locker room. Like, I don't understand. It's like, what do you guys give the Nets when they're here?
But just everybody needs to take a chill pill, and I get sick and tired. And I know there's like this quasi rivalry right now between Grizzlies fans and Pelicans fans because Pelicans got Zion, we got Ja, they got the number 1 pick, we got the number 2 pick, and even though the two of them are like really close buds, they grew up together in South Carolina, played on the same AAU team, really, really good friends, and are always tweeting back and forth at each other about how much they're rooting for each other. They're always talking whenever the two of them are on ESPN together. They're always talking about how much they're rooting for the other person to succeed. There's always going to be this rivalry between the fans because that's just how NBA Twitter works. That's the ugly side of NBA Twitter.
Oh, absolutely.
And as annoying as they can get, I honestly feel bad for them because it's like, this is why we can't have nice things. Okay. It's because before the man is even old enough to drink, before he's played a full NBA season, guy's played a little over 70 NBA games right now. So he hasn't even played a full NBA season. People already talk about he's leaving, he's gone, he should go to New York, he should do this, he should do that, he should go here, he should sign here. Man's already got his own signature shoe deal with Jordan. Okay. Man's got Gatorade commercials. He's getting everything as a rookie that there are players that are on the Knicks, that are on the Lakers, that are on the Clippers, that are on the Nets, that are in Miami, that are on these big market teams. The only commercial I've ever seen Jason Tatum in is a Subway commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
With Draymond Green. That's the only commercial I've seen him. Dude's an all-star, has been an all-star, and is balling, and he's in one of the biggest markets and one of the most historic franchises next to the Lakers in the NBA, which means something in the NBA. History means something in the NBA. That is a major selling point when the Knicks go recruiting, when the Celtics go recruiting, when the Lakers go recruiting. It's history, it's legacy. The man's getting only Subway commercials. Zion's getting a shoe deal. He's getting invited to the Jordan campus by MJ to be a Jordan brand ambassador and get his own signature shoe. You don't need to be in these big markets anymore. Like, granted, I get the weather thing. Like I understand that. You want to move out to California, you want to go join the Lakers because it's 70 degrees year round and you're in Hollywood. I get that. I get why LeBron went there.
Yeah.
But Zion is 20 years old. Can't even buy a drink yet. Leave the kid alone. Let him ball. Let him do his thing. Let him grow, because this is still a rebuilding franchise. Now, I think they've made mistakes. I think it was a mistake to hire Van Gundy. The Van Gundy hiring was the equivalent of the Mike McCarthy hiring for the Cowboys. And you see how both of those are working out. Two extremely talented teams that are absolute garbage. And part of it, most of it, I would say, is part of the coaching. But I'm sick of the media just running rampant with it. And Grizzly fans, we're preparing ourselves because it's going to happen for Ja. It's going to happen for Jaren. It happened back when Marc Gasol was originally up after he won Defensive Player of the Year, made an All-NBA team, and was an All-Star. There was talks of the Knicks, like he's going to the Knicks. He needs to sign with the Knicks. Knicks going to sign him to a max contract. This, that, New York, this, New York, that. He's gone. He's gone. It's like, already say goodbye, Memphis. You know, he's gone. He's packing. It's stressful to small market teams and their fans. It really is. And it's stuff that shouldn't be there. You know, I'm tired of it. So from one small market fan to other small market fans, I get the pain. And because I'm going to be there soon, because Jaren's going to be going into his 4th season next season. Ja's going to be going into his 3rd season next year. And I've already started seeing the edits, the photoshopped jerseys. And I know most of them are trolls, but there's already, you know, like people being serious about it. There's already articles being written about it, you know, and it's like, let them complete the rookie contract. Let's reevaluate Zion and his place in New Orleans. They have 1 million first-round picks, and he's got 4 years on his rookie deal, something like that. Because it's like 2 years guaranteed and then 2 team option years. And then he's a restricted free agent after that. So he'll probably sign a rookie extension, which is going to be a lot. And it's going to be like 5 years. So it's literally, we can't judge if he's going to leave or not until it's been a decade. And the guy's going to be like 27 years old by that time. So he's still going to be in his prime. Then we can talk about it. If it's the same situation where, like with Anthony Davis, where literally bad coaching, bad hiring, bad draft picks, bad signings, and just a horribly run franchise all around. If that's happening, and it's Zion's been there for almost 10 years and he's tried everything that he can, then he could walk away if he wants to. Then we could start talking about that. But until then, shut up.
Yeah. See, sometimes Knicks fans and I mean even Laker fans, I'll admit it, we get a little too far ahead of ourselves. Like we see a nice young player on a small market team or like future Nick, future Laker. Like it happens all the time. Hell, Yankee fans do that with almost everybody in the MLB. It's literally like any guy up, future Yankee. Like Trevor Story, future Yankee, although I think that's what's happening. But
Yeah.
but let the man like go and hit free agency first. Like let him like play his younger years, like with the small market team, and then let him go and make his decision. Or, the team decides that they'll trade him. Although Zion Williamson is one of those guys that is not tradable. If he he is already a polarizing figure in terms of like how much the Pelicans get thrown on TV for being a terrible team. It's literally the entire draw is just watch Zion play. That's all it is watch Zion play.
Mhm.
So I get what you're saying. Like let the man, do his thing for a little bit. Let him actually, try to make the Pelicans into a winning franchise, although they fumbled the bag on Anthony Davis. So leads me to believe that they will fumble the bag on Zion Williamson as well.
Well, yeah.
Which honestly just kills me because if you think about it from the, I mean, God, you're the Pelicans.
Yeah.
You could have had you would have had Anthony Davis.
You have
Zion.
you have two generational talents in two separate decades, and you could potentially like screw it up two
And
times.
you could potentially back to back too, like
Yeah,
one
that's
right
crazy.
after the other. It's nuts. It's nuts. But that just might be just because the Pelicans just a terrible franchise. But let the man play out his younger years first. I mean, let him become a free agent before we start talking about his bags are packed and all that. It's not it's just not a good thing to do. Worry about the guys that are on your team. Like personally, I'd say for the Knicks fans, like enjoy what you got going on right now because it's special. It's all a bunch of guys that either you drafted or nobody else wanted and you took.
Mhm.
And now they are, basically they got the New York grit in them and they are just playing out of their minds like D Rose and Julius Randle. So enjoy what you got right now. All right. So don't worry about the superstars and any of that. Like enjoy being relevant in the NBA again. Because Lord knows it's been a very long time since we've seen that. Let the tea soak a little bit before we go and start jumping in. Anyway, guys, we will go on to my prediction for next week. Now this one is kind of going to be the same as last week, but a little different. Still got to do with the same team. It's the Yankees. I don't know if this is just me being a absolute bumbling idiot, but I know the Yankees lost. I'm pretty sure they lost. I turned my TV off because I got too angry and I was trying to do the podcast and I didn't want to get absolutely furious. So I turned the TV off. I don't know. They probably lost, but I think the Yankees might turn it around by next week. They can't be this bad forever. They're too good of a team to be this bad. I think that they'll turn it around eventually. They'll start hitting. They're going to break out of it. I mean, basically, if they don't, there's going to be a lot of trouble down on Rivera Avenue, right outside the stadium. I'm telling you that right now. So, Yankees will turn it around, or I'll say this: Yankees better turn it around.
Yeah, and I mean the positive note for you is 20 games into a 160 something game season.
That's
So
exactly.
You still got 140 games left.
It's April. It's April. Like I always have this saying: baseball doesn't really matter until like mid-June. Then you can really then it really starts to matter. But April and May, it's like guys are still getting their feet under them. There's plenty of stories that hell, the Washington Nationals 2 years ago were so far back at the All-Star break they were thinking about firing their manager and having a fire sale on the team. But guess what? They decided to not do that. They went on to make the wild card game and win the World Series that year. So you never know. Listen, bad starts really mean nothing as long as you fix them and you start doing good.
Yeah, but you can't have too bad of a start because then
no,
you can't catch up. Doesn't matter how hot you get at the end, then you'll catch up.
There is also another saying. There's also another saying. You can't win the World Series in April, but you can certainly lose the World Series in April.
Yeah. All right. My prediction, it's going back to a team that I brought up. It's the Chicago Bulls. This is kind of an extended prediction, so we'll see how it plays out over the coming months. Not only do the Chicago Bulls fall out of the 10th spot, but they will be a lottery team. But they will not win the lottery. They will be a ladder lottery team. And even though it is a deep draft, they really won't develop that player. And by the trade deadline next season, they will be a sub 500 team, not in the playoffs. And then it will be a fire sale in Chicago. They will blow it up and rebuild.
Rebuild again.
Again.
When does it come to the point when you got tired of rebuilding and you just sit there and say to yourself, you know what? I think I'm just gonna move the team and because clearly things aren't working out here.
I don't know what's going on in Chicago, man. I don't know what's going on. And it's a far stretch of a prediction. It's kind of an overreaction, I would say, but because they just brought in new management, but you don't make the Vucevic trade. Like if you make the Vucevic trade and by the trade deadline next season, you are still a sub 500 team fighting for, the 8th spot down to like 10 and 11. Like if you're in that range, then, what's the point? You're kind of stuck. You might as well sell while your two biggest assets, which would be Levine and Vucevic, are still high, and try to get a couple first round picks back because you gave up quite a few to get them. That's the only thing. And if you don't do that, then you kind of turn into a situation like what the Spurs are going through, where they're two aging stars. They should have got rid of them 2 years ago where they had value.
Yep.
They're getting nothing for them now. And even though they're still fighting for a playoff spot, that is 100%, by the way, because of Greg Popovich, but they're going to be stuck when it comes to rebuilding time because they're not going to have any extra first round picks. So they're going to be ladder lottery picks, and they're going to have to, it's going to have to be home run after home run after home run on every single one of them. And even then you still may not make the playoffs, and you still may never win a championship because you could pick the perfect guy at 13 or 14, but he's a role player. Like he may be the best role player in the draft, but he's not a world beater.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So it all comes down. Hey, it all comes down to the draft. All I know is you definitely don't want to be in situations where your guys have no value and you need draft picks. So it's best to trade them. It's best to trade them early, especially when you have no hope of winning the championship, or if you're like a borderline 8th seed in a normal year, or this year you're a borderline 10th seed. What does that really mean? Just blow it up. Yep. So my advice is when shit hit the fan, just blow it up. Just blow the whole thing, burn the building to the ground, just start over. All right, guys. Well, that does it for this episode of Toast Time. Don't forget to go on Symbol. You could use our promo code, get a deposit bonus with your first deposit. Baseball's going on, basketball's almost done, and then the NFL draft's coming up. So make some money, have some fun on us. You get a bonus $10. Anyway, that is all from us today. We will see you guys again next week.